I got a case of the Mondays. Oh, what's on my shirt? It's fluff. No way, purple fluff. Where would that have come from? I don't know. Hello, welcome to FiberLoveDiary. I'm Trish if we haven't met, and if we have met, welcome back. It's Father's Day, but this won't be going out for a couple of days after. And if you normally watch my channel, you saw me unbox some silk from Paradise Fibers and some of their own dyes that they, I guess, just came out with. I don't know. Right here. Sorry, one of them's upside down. Wait a minute. So these are the little jars they sent, and they had instructions for ice dyeing in the package. So I am gonna take everything outside with my tripod and do some ice dyeing with the silk. It's been soaking a couple days. I wanted to make sure I told you guys that. It was soaking in water with just like one big glug of vinegar. I never measure it. A lot of times when I have dyed silk in the past, I haven't done it a million times or anything, I have trouble getting it into the middle. And one of you suggested that I'm not soaking it long enough. It's been soaking for like 3 days now. Okay, so I'm gonna dye the silk brick, but I read the instructions, which is not usually my way. And first I have to soak it in water with vinegar, and it says up to 48 hours. So I'm gonna do a full 2 days just to make sure it's saturated. One of you mentioned that I maybe haven't been soaking it long enough. So, and that could be the reason why I've had trouble getting the dye to go all the way to the center. So I'm gonna go ahead and fill this with water and be right back to add vinegar and put the silk in it. This is just like room temperature water. I'm not gonna measure this. It's 4 ounces of silk, so it shouldn't take a ton. There's probably like, maybe like 3 tablespoons in there, I don't know. Super scientific, I know. And I'm just putting it straight in here. I've done a lot of silk hankies over the years and never had a problem, but the times that I've tried to dye silk top, it's been a couple times. It's never gotten to the center, so let's see if it works if I soak it longer. Doesn't even want to go down in there. I'm gonna let it soak for 48 hours, and I'm gonna keep pushing it under the water because it doesn't really want to go under. John had the bright idea to put this wire rack into the pan, and he said, well, we'll put something heavy on it because the silk just wanted to float. But as soon as I put the rack on, that was enough weight to keep the silk down, so I didn't have to put any weight on it. And I'm actually going to use this to dye on so the water will drip through. I'm going to use one of these stainless ones to set this in and then put the silk on top of it to do the ice dyeing, because I want the water to be able to run through without like having it sit in water. But I want to use the stainless pan so that I can heat it after to make 100% sure that the dye is set. I just really want to make sure that I have the option to heat it if I want to, because some colors just won't set without heat. And I have suspicions about this guy, but we're gonna try it. It'll tell us, and I'll show you what sets and what doesn't without heat. And then if I must heat it, I can cover it and heat it on the grill outside. So let's go outside and dye this silk. Okay, so I couldn't fit it all on that tray, so I still have quite a bit, which I'll do later. I put it back in the soaking water. Okay, I'm trying to make sure every bit of it is covered, and like there's some hanging off right there. I'm gonna push it back on and get it all covered with a big pile of ice. Okay. Now, since I have two batches, I'm gonna do two different like amounts of types of color. So I'm gonna start with this one. There's a breeze. Uh-oh, wait a minute. Okay. And I'm not wearing gloves, which is definitely going to be a mistake, but it is what it is now, right? See, I've already dyed my fingers. Okay, so oh my gosh, this blue is really good. Okay. Right. Now we just wait for it to melt. I'll be back during the melting process to show you guys what it looks like, but I'm gonna get in real close right now. So I only used a tiny bit of the yellow, and I went mostly with the magenta and the blue. So this is what it's looking like at the start. Wish me luck. This actually looks pretty cool in the pan. You know what, I think I'm gonna just go ahead and dye the rest of it in here, and then I can transfer it to the steel pan if I need to. So let's just do that. Pour all this water out. Oh, see, I had it on my hand. This is bad. I'm actually gonna spiral this in this bowl. Oh my God, I really got myself good. All right, so there's a spiral here. I'm going to cover it with the rest of the ice. Okay. Might as well just use all the ice. I got to rinse my hands off. So now I'm going to do a good amount of yellow on one side. I'm just trying to decide. I guess I'll go with the, oh gosh, this is so hard. I'm gonna go with the magenta down the middle. If I can open it, I did. And then I'll go with some of the blue. Get it all over me again, probably. This time I'm gonna try and like cross them a bit more. We'll be back to show you later how it's going. Okay, so it's been about half an hour, maybe 40 minutes. This may have been a mistake, but maybe not. And you can see, like down in the pan, it's mixing a lot. Even though it is more purple over here and more blue over here, that dye is mixing a lot. So, but up here on this tray, not so much, which is kind of what I wanted. And then here, same exactly. You can see it's really mixing a lot. So I'm gonna get two different, completely different effects, which is actually pretty cool. So this is, like I said, it's about half hour, 40 minutes, and I will be back in another hour probably. I expect all the ice to be gone in about that amount of time. But this is taking color right now. It's harder to tell in here, but they're going to be completely different. This is kind of cool. I'm glad I did two different ones. An hour has passed since we were down here, and check this out. So there's just a tiny bit of ice left right here. Didn't this turn out so cool? So I'm going to move it. And the bowl still has some ice in it. I do not want to move this at all. So I'm going to leave it alone for now until this ice melts completely. I just don't want to move anything because I don't want the dye to bleed more around. But as you can see, there is a ton of dye in the steel pan. Don't want to waste it. I don't know what color it's going to be. I'm guessing it'll be like a purple, but I'm going to take this out for now. I'm going to add some vinegar because the ice didn't have any vinegar in it. And I brought out some Polworth Silk Blend, and I'm going to put it straight in the dye. I just don't want to waste it. It seems like a lot. So I'm just going to put it right in the pan. So this stuff is dripping onto the deck and it's clear. So I'm gonna go ahead and rinse it at the outdoor shower. I've used it before here. And then we're gonna see how it looks. I mean, I know for sure some of this yellow dye that's clumped up right here is gonna just rinse off. But I think otherwise it pretty much struck. So let's just rinse it. Well, that made it kind of nice to rinse. And I don't know if you guys will be able to see it or not, because while I was rinsing, I wasn't looking at the camera, but it did bleed some of the pink actually, but I didn't see any blue, and I did see only a tiny bit of yellow, and I'm sure it was because there was some like dried, or there was some powder still left on it. So this is gonna be pretty awesome, I think. I'm gonna squeeze it out and hang it up to dry, and then I'll show you when it's all done. This is pretty much melted. I'm gonna have so much runoff, but I'm just gonna do it anyway. I'm gonna pull this silk out like all at once so that I don't mix the dyes up more than I have to, and they don't get on the different parts more than they have to. So ready? Look at this. I got a much deeper color, which I think we would have expected from this. I'm gonna take it and rinse it the same way. So let's take it to the shower. I'm just really surprised because, again, I didn't use any heat. All right, it's gonna be hard to see. So I'm gonna squeeze this out as well and hang it up to dry, and then I'll show you guys what it looks like when it's all done. I know there's a glare on my glasses. I apologize. I'm across from the window because that is always the best light. And I cannot see without them. So here, let's try and tilt them down a little. That's a little better. I dyed the silk. I thought I would show you how it came out and kind of talk a little bit about my conclusions on the process and the dye. Oh, there is one more thing I have to show you. Hang on. This is the wool that I put in the leftover dye. And what's crazy is that dye looked blue, number one, and it looked completely homogeneous. Like it was all just one color. And definitely I got a break in this roving. Makes sense, you know, probably striking at different temps, different speeds, probably striking the silk and the pole differently, and I love it. So I also got all this wool and silk blend, but I had one weird thing that I thought I would show you guys, and I'm not 100% sure what it is. I'll be totally honest about it. I want to try and get in here so you can see it. Okay. So see, you can see this for sure. See that blue like swirl? I do not know. You can see each particle of it. And I don't know if that is dye or if there was particulate in the silk that got dyed in the process, and now that's a little bit of the particulate, but it's only blue. I did want to show you in case anyone else has this, that I had it too, I guess. Oh, anyway, this is the wool that I added. I'm gonna take it and rinse it. I just wanted to show you that little situation before I did the rinsing because it would be gone after that. I'm gonna try and show it all at once. This is the silk on top of the rack in the stainless pan. So I got really, really pretty colors. Again, this was one on top of the rack, so everything that didn't go into the silk just ran into the pan. And then I'm gonna show you, this is the one where it was in the bowl and the dye it just sat in the dye. I did use less purple on this one. I'm sorry, less yellow on this one and more of the other two colors. So I think that's really the reason. But I really like them both. I'm pretty much thrilled, I would say, with how these turned out. I really enjoyed this process. It was very fun. I wish that I had gone with my first instinct and heated them at the end to set more dye. I did get a lot of rinsing out, which is nothing wrong with the dye. Heat would have set a lot more dye. And the reason I put the one in the stainless steel pan is because I was like, I want to be able to apply heat at the end, but I didn't do it because I thought more of it had struck. I was like, wow, a lot of this has already struck and this water is pretty clear. No. A lot of it rinsed out. And so I wish, just for my process, that I had heat set it. But this dye is nice, it's good. And I did heat set that blue and purple, and you can see that I got a very brilliant color from that. So it is definitely not the dye, it was definitely my process. I should have heat set it. But I do love these colors, so I'm not disappointed. I just know I would have gotten a much deeper color had I heat set it. And I like them so much, I'm really thinking that I might just spin these without blending them with anything, because I mean, I'm loving them. It's like candy, or I don't know. They're just super gorgeous. I have to think about it a little while before I decide if I'm gonna spin this straight up the way it is or if I'm going to blend it with something. I need to think it through for a while. I've done this before. I've ice dyed before. I'll actually link that below. Some colors just struck better than others without heating, and I think that's not a surprise. This dye is great. I would love to try more of it, and I would love to see some more colors of it. I hope this makes you feel more confident to dye your own paradise box from this month and just go for it, because I mean, even if you don't apply any heat and this is what you're gonna get, come on, you know you want to. So go get you a bag of ice on a hot day, get outside, have some fun, and dye your silk. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks, I love you, bye.